This is Proofreading Part 4, and we're going to start this way. Have you ever thought about where the word alphabet ever came from? Okay. Well, alphabet is formed from two words, two Greek words, alpha and beta. And what is alpha and beta? Well, that's the first two letters in the Greek alphabet. That's right. Now, in my next video, I'm going to talk about ideograms, because ideograms is where you got some of the formations of the current alphabet you have today. And I'll go into an in-depth discussion on that in a future video. But anyway, we're going to talk about apostrophes tonight. How do you use an apostrophe? Well, let's take, for instance, the word it is. Now, I already talked about this in a previous video. If you have it is, you'll have it with an apostrophe and then an S, because that shrinks down. It's an abbreviated form of the word it is. So it is. Okay. Now, if you're using the word it as a possessive, you don't put an apostrophe there, because you're not abbreviating a couple of words. Now, the same thing is true with the word don't, can't. Can't is cannot, don't is do not. So basically you're abbreviating. That's why apostrophes are used, to abbreviate. But they can also be used as possessives. Now, I've talked about this in a previous video, but I'll go ahead and expand out here. The kid's dog barked. That meant that that dog belonged to that one kid. Okay? When the apostrophe is before the S, that means that the dog belonged to one kid. Now, what if the dog belongs to more than one kid? Let's say you have a brother and a sister, or you have two brothers, or you have two brothers and a sister, and the dog belongs to all three of them. Then you don't put the apostrophe before the S, you put it afterwards. The kid's dog barked. That's how you do that. Now then, where did they come up with the exclamation mark and the question mark? Well, when it comes to the exclamation mark and the question mark, nobody is 100% sure where they came from. They've made some good guesses, but they're not 100% sure. Now, I will tell you what they've come up with so far, because this is all I can seem to find. But they used to have an abbreviation in the Latin language where a lot of our words came from. And that abbreviation was for the word joy. And so they had a letter I like this over an O like this. So what they did was they just contracted the little I there, filled in the O, and that's how you got your exclamation mark. Now, a funny thing is that old-time typewriters, if you look at their keyboards, do not have exclamation marks. Now, nobody's 100% sure why they don't. Well, they've made some few guesses, and I could go into them, but I'm not going to. You can research that yourself. But old-time typewriters did not have exclamation marks on their keypad. Anyway, now, the people from Latin, okay, these are the Romans, they had an abbreviation for question. And what they would do is they take the letter Q, place it above an O like this, and that's how they would abbreviate the word question. Now, people are saying, well, that's probably most likely where we get the question mark, is they just reshaped the Q, filled in the O, and there you go. I think it's a pretty sound explanation to me. But if you guys find anything better, you are more than welcome to send it my way, and I'll be happy to talk about it on this wonderful YouTube channel. So, unless you got something better, there you go. Now, how do you use the exclamation mark? Well, it's for dramatic emphasis. That's how you use it. If you want to dramatically emphasize a particular statement, use the exclamation mark. Otherwise, use the period. Now, as for question marks, the only time you use them is if you're going to ask a question. If you're not asking a question, don't use a question mark. Even in Spanish, that's true. In Spanish, what you do is you have an upside down question mark at the beginning of the sentence and a right side up question mark at the end, thus indicating a question rather than a statement. So anyway, I hope you guys learned a bunch from me. I will tell you more in a future video. Stay tuned.